Let's explore one of the most exciting opportunities in the AI space for the next few years. First, let me ask you the question. When I say exciting AI opportunity, what first comes to mind? Maybe the tools, softwares, platforms that are intended to replace us as humans or do the work for us. Maybe the new business opportunities like integrating AI into your workflows or launching new ventures and startups. Maybe agency consultancy, freelance coaching space where you help individuals and businesses to navigate inside this new world. Or maybe it's something that I am trying to introduce to you right now, which is the Chief Automation Officer opportunity. And we will obviously discuss it in details a bit later, but for now, in a nutshell, based on my opinion, experience, and what I see, it is really well paired with all of these type of the things that you can do, as well as it opens up a lot of the new doors for people that want to go into the space. And also, it's a good backup option for someone like me in the next few years, and I'll explain what it means later. When I think about AI industry in first quarter of 2025, because everything happening very fast, I think about the industry as a whole based on these 10 players that are participating in the market. The first ones are the startups and softwares. So these are essentially the guys that move the industry forward on the technical aspect, as well as open the new horizons of what's possible, right? These could be, agent, chatbot platforms, workflows, whatever, or the actual guys like OpenAI. These are, the drivers, right? There are individuals that are wanting to use AI or just exploring AI for their personal use, and this guy should go here. The third type of the players is the workers, 9-to-5ers, solopreneurs, or the small businesses. These are not like SMBs or enterprise like here. These are the guys that are exploring AI space for work, not like individuals for, editing their photos or Instagram reels. These are the guys that are trying to save more time, to focus on the tasks that are more important, aka make more money. Or if we're talking about, the 9-to-5ers, maybe developers that are, or even marketers that are trying to add the tools to their skill set to be more relevant. The next ones are the SMBs in enterprises, and these are, the guys that I, for example, focus on, and we talk a lot on this channel. They usually set a goal, and for now, again, based on my experience, most of them don't know exactly how AI can be applied. And again, pay attention here. This is very important. Most of the SMBs and enterprises not yet sure if A, AI can help them, and B, if they believe that it can, they don't know how. It's a bit different from the solopreneurs or smaller businesses because they move fast, and usually the founder, CEO is the driver that explore these things, and they are, already kind of starting to explore it actively, where these guys are just thinking and trying to stay relevant, okay? And usually, again, from my experience with working and talking with hundreds of businesses, usually these are the chief marketing officers, CTOs, and sometimes CEOs, again, depending on the company, where chief marketing officers or marketing directors, I'm just generalizing their role, right? They're looking on okay, so what are the ways how AI can make us more money or make us more efficient on the marketing and sales side? CTOs are the guys that are, trying to find a ways how to optimize like certain processes, and CEOs again are like generally just looking into this whole the space as a whole to find a ways how to grow and scale using the new tech. Again, pay attention that this is just my opinion, one, and two is that I'm like generalizing a lot of the things to make it clear for you on the next steps and the whole path when we're talking about becoming a chief automation officer. So the fifth player in the industry is the like full cycle agencies, AI agencies. So these are the guys like me, right? So like Quimple, where we help usually SMBs and enterprises to automate certain processes, or more importantly, to help them to understand how AI can be applied and then actually like do the job. And we like help the C-suite, right, to implement the solution. And for now, since most of the guys, aka C-suite, don't really know how like and where AI can be applied, so we're not only doing the development, but we're also doing the audits and brainstorming sessions where we help them to explore these new options. The sixth players are the consultants. So does this guy look like a consultant? They're like us, but they usually do not focus on the development side, and they either partner up with someone like us, which is not the best case for the consultant because we still like do, and it's conflict of interest. What they usually do is they partner up with the actual like freelancers, aka developers. These are the freelance type of the guys. That like you can find on like different platforms, Upwork, Fiverr, or just LinkedIn, that are like doing the job, that they have the skill set. And usually these guys have a problem with like finding the prospects, because again, so when we think about these platforms, right, so like Fiverr or Upwork, where you can find someone, or even like the job markets like Indeed or like LinkedIn Jobs, in order for them to find the jobs there, right, so to fulfill, the C-suite need to understand, like in general, again, like C-suite need to be comfortable with what we are looking for to then find the developer. They are not, and I don't think that this is how it will work when like once the C-suite is thinking about, okay, how like let's explore the options, let's explore how AI can be applied. They will just go into one of these marketplaces and find like someone for the consultancy, right, or for the brainstorming and audits. So these are usually the guys that do the manual work. That's why they are usually sad. Okay, the eighth players are coaches. Again, I don't consider myself as a coach. I do have the 99 Players Bootcamp program. You can check it out, link in the description, where I help people to replace their 9 to 5 by like selling AI solutions and essentially doing what I did. But like the difference between me and most of the coaches is that my main business is still Quimple, and this is like a small portion of my overall income and interest. So but there are like a big like info product space right now, and I think in the next few years it's gonna like really explode because of the barrier of entry, and literally anyone can like start building automations and teaching others how to do that, right? So I'm like, for example, I'm teaching the business skills when it comes to like how to find specifically clients that are looking for the automations and how to build an agency, and not like how to build certain things. Anyways, so just in general, I think you got the idea. So the coaches are a very like playing a really important role in this whole industry. Ninth are like investors that are, does it look like a trash, that are putting money, trying to find the winners, usually like venture backed startups, and venture capitalists, whatever. So these are the players that have the most amount of money, and they are usually paired up with these guys, right, that needing the money to scale and guessing who is going to be the winner. And the 10th are the majority of the market. So these are, usually people that don't care, right? For right now, they either think that AI is a gimmick, or they like genuinely don't have a use case, because doesn't really matter like how fancy AI is and what it can do. But for a ordinary Bob from Alaska, like maybe it's not the thing. If you're Bob from Alaska, sorry. Okay, so these are the 10 players, right? Again, maybe I missed something, but trying to generalize everything to give you a really good understanding of what's going on right now. Okay, and I really want to introduce and popularize the 11th player in this market. And I'm not saying that I am the one who created the term, and you can like Google it, and it's been there, I think, from like already like 10 years maybe, right after like automations like started to get popularity, even like before the AI boom. So let's first compare like what's the difference, and like how do we even think about like CAO? Who is it? How does someone pay money for it? Like, or how does someone actually makes money being the CAO? So first, like we can compare it with CTO or others. You can either be a project basis, like full time, or the part time. Again, so a lot of the contractors, whatever. So, but if we like generalize it, project basis, these are usually this is the work. So when it comes to the automations and AI integrations, the projects are going to be done by, consultants and agencies like us. So this is not where the CAO is relevant. Full-time. Now, I think, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes, but I think that CAOs are not going to be like a full-time employee of the company. Obviously, it depends on the business. So I am not saying, and hear me out, I am not saying that CAO will become the new CTO, right? So the CTOs will have an aspects of like an in-depth understanding and requirement. When like someone is hiring, they will need to understand the automation and AI space, obviously. So I don't really think that it's gonna replace the CTO, nor I think that if we're not like replacing, it will just create a whole new role from nothing, right? So where I think the gold mine is in the like part-time opportunities within the companies. And this is again what I see, what we already did with multiple companies, and I'll provide like a case study later in the video. And this is where I think, in my opinion, is like this is where most of the businesses need to focus on if they're like planning to hire, or if you are trying to become one. This is like where you need to actually pay attention to. So essentially, this is like a fractional CAO, right? So the term like fractional CMO, like chief marketing, or fractional CTOs is very popular, right? And it became popular in the next few years, especially after the COVID hit. So these guys started to pop up here and there, and companies were like also very interested in finding the fractional positions that will replace a certain like very specific role within the company. And if we think why this, like what is happening right now, I think is not a good illustration on what's gonna happen and how the market gonna be in the next 3 to 5 years. If you watch my channel, you know that I am trying to be very pessimistic. Like I'm choosing the strategic pessimism approach, and I'm not trying to be overly hyped, like regarding all of the new things and regarding the AI opportunity, even though I do think that, like, I'm only 25, right? I'm gonna be 20, no, sorry, 26. My birthday is actually on February 16th. Jesus, it's in 3 days. Okay. So I'm only 26, and I did not see how the internet became like the thing, right? I remember when I was like uh child, whatever, so the teenager, when we didn't have the internet and how it was like slowly introduced, but I was not very conscious about it, right? So I was like still very young, and the guys that are, I know that there are a lot of the guys that will watch the video, you guys like 35, 40, 50, so you actually saw this shift, right? And so you can actually tell, but my feeling is that AI is going to do something similar and maybe even bigger than the internet did. And this is like a whole separate topic for the discussion. What I'm saying is that right now it's like super new, right? They're like, it seems like a lot of the things get added into the market, into like this market every week, every day, every month. And it's literally almost impossible to predict what is going to happen, right? So just like we're guessing, right? So we're guessing. So my guess would be that the CAOs will be relevant, and like I want to explain why I think this way. And I would love to discuss. If you have a different opinion, let me know in the comments. So essentially, what are the C-suite options when it comes to AI integration? So let's say we focus on these players. So we focus on either, small businesses, SMBs, as well as all the agencies and consultants, right? So if we are like focusing on these players, and if we think about, okay, let's say the C-suite right now is actively thinking how they can leverage the opportunity. So what are their options, right? So the first option is go with an agency like mine. My prediction is that I know that this is hard, and like especially considering the fact that I own an agency and this is how I make my money. I think that the general agencies like mine going to be dead. Like I say 1 year, I used to say like 2-3 years, but from like what I see right now, how the market is moving, I do think it's gonna like happen like very fast. When I say general, it means like the Quimple is right now already like focusing on very specific aspects of the business and specific industries. That's why if you look on some of the videos, you will see that I showed the very specific case studies and not trying to go broad and cover like all the possible topics. That's why we are very selective with the businesses that we work with. But I even think that this is not enough. We will need to niche down into either A, very specific service, or B, like very specific industry. And I teach it like that's why I'm launching a new agency, and I'm gonna explain what I'm gonna do in the next videos. So stay tuned. And this is what I teach within my bootcamp, right? So if you are like also wanting to like explore the options, this is the second call to action. To check the link in the description. Now, so like, and they're gonna be dead. Like we are gonna be dead because all the regular agencies like content marketing, SEO, RevOps, they will just introduce AI into their offerings, right? And you will not have a leverage, right? So they already trying to, so let's say if we think about like content like agencies, right? So what do you think? Will the business hire you as the AI agency that is like building content systems, or they will just hire the content agency that is operating based on the like AI procedures, right? So this is what I'm like saying, right? And same thing with like lead gen. Right now we are building the like AI infrastructures for the lead generation and the outreach and the marketing. But eventually, when there are like thousands and hundreds of thousands of different agencies, once they start implementing AI into their processes, right, and will start market them as the AI powered agencies, will no longer have a leverage, right? So this is like one aspect. So I think this is like how one type of the AI agents is going to be. So these are going to be like just regular agencies with the AI tools behind them. There will be full cycle AI McKinsey type agencies that are going to be that will work on very complex and difficult use cases with bigger projects, right? So these are like the full developer, like just full end developers, right? Because right now you can literally build any website, almost any, like you can literally copy the Apple website, whatever, in the, it's not fast, right? But animations and interactions, and like you can do it with the no code tools, and not with the AI for now, but maybe in the 1-2 years it's going to be. But there will be still agencies and services that develop websites on the higher end, right? So because they focus on the use cases that are not possible with all this, no code like tools. So this is like where I think AI agencies will be at, on like the actual like higher tier of the projects. And the third guys will be like very hyper specific agencies focusing on like very, very small use case, like focusing on one very, very important benefit, right? And this is going to be either like agencies or like softwares like Microsoft. Anyways, so C-suite. So this is one option, right? To go with an agency. Second option is to go with a consultant, but the problem with going, it is good. So I think that this is where a lot of the businesses are headed, and this is what they are like actively doing, right? So they're like trying to first understand how AI can be applied, and before like going to the agency, they go to the consultant. The thing is that the guys like us, like me, we like pair the consultancy with the agency services. And usually because of my brand, right? So because people and businesses trust me, and we have the public case studies behind us. But the business can like just go to the consultants first, right? But the problems with them is that they usually don't have the development experience, and it's harder for them if they don't have the development background in the AI space, or worked with a lot of the projects. It's hard for them to actually connect the dots that needed to be connected with the current tools and with the current possibilities. So the third option is the freelancers, right? So the freelancers, as I was saying, usually paired up with the consultants, because they are not the ones that are like kind of finding the bottlenecks. So they are the ones that are fulfilling the job, right? Or just do in-house, right? So again, to simplify it, let's say C-suite thinking, okay, we want AI. What are our options? Agency, I think solid choice, but only if it's us, that the guys that have the case studies and the companies behind them, and we have the brand, so we have an experience, because we are joining like this like consultancy and the agency space together, right? If for the most part, the agencies are just kind of fancy freelancers that are positioning themselves as an agency, this is just going to be a more expensive option, right? So consultants are great, but they're not going to be on the fulfillment side. So you would need to hire the consultants that will have a good network of freelancers, and have an experience with like fulfilling and helping others to fulfill like certain projects, and not only just say, yeah, like whatever, so this is how you need to use AI by, okay, and charge you like 10 grand for it. So the freelancers are not the option, because you first need to understand, and from what we understood here, right, so they don't really know exactly how AI can be applied. So the freelancers are not the actual option to go for. And the in-house, right? But when it comes to the in-house, like, do you need to hire someone full-time or part-time? And if they need to hire someone full-time who like automations, like how to like make and add like whatever specialist, chatbot, voice bot workflow, like it's very hard, right? So that's why if you see the only guys that are actually hiring automation developers right now are the guys like us, right? So the agencies that are fulfilling the job for their enterprise and SMBs, and not the actual SMBs, okay? But maybe like if this is the choice, someone would need to track down the progress. And the same thing applies here, right? So for example, if they pair up with the consultants, right, and the consultants do the audit and explain like the business how specifically AI can be applied, then the business go and find the freelancer, or the consultant recommend the freelancer. Now, who is going to actually track the progress, manage the project, do the iterations, and then improve? So is it like the freelancer? I mean, maybe, but it depends on the freelancer and the because freelancer cannot control himself, right? So you need someone. It could be the CTO, but CTOs right now are not the best guys for it because they are very defensive. And from my experience, we're talking to tons probably different like CTOs with different companies. So they are the guys that is like the hardest to sell to, okay? Because they are like very defensive, and because and it's understandable, because they don't trust AI. They see it as a gimmick. And I agree, right? So when you go into most of the videos on YouTube, you see AI will automate your business A to Z. Now you don't do anything. You click the button and you print cash, right? So it's a bullshit. And that's why, because they have the technical brain, they understand that it's horseshit. So that's why they don't trust it. But the second thing is that because they are afraid, because like they do the job, and if they see potentially that this job can be replaced, now they're this is again a conflict of interest, which I don't agree with, right? It's not going to replace the CTOs. CTOs will just need to have the experience of working with either like freelancers within the automation space, or have like an experience within like different tools. Anyways, so what I'm saying is that if you hire the consultant, like freelancer, okay, so who's gonna track it? Like now you're kind of in a mess. You have the CTO, you have the consultant, you have the freelancer, you have a mess, right? And that's why the best option right now, this is what I would recommend if you are the business, like go with us, link in the description. Let's hop on the call and let's see how we can help. But even if it's not us, I think if you find an agency with a good track record, this is like the most solid option for you to go with. Okay. But if you're like not actively planning to integrate something and just like exploring in general, yeah, so the consultants are the way to go. And we do offer consultancy, but it's on the higher end. Anyways, so now when it comes to the CTOs, the problem with the CTOs is that they can track the progress, but they do not see the entire picture, right? So like, and they are not usually the business oriented people. When it comes to implementing AI, again, once you understand the use case, it's easy. But even then, you need to see the picture of how it will influence the business as a whole, the team structure, and the way you actually go and like produce your products, services, you fulfill certain things. That's why like the CTO can be paired with the consultants that have the business oriented approach and the overall picture. But again, like you would still need someone to fulfill it. And now it's a mess. So this is where the fractional CAOs comes in handy, right? These guys would have the business knowledge in the specific industry, and I think this is crucial, right? Right now it's like it's possible, and I will like give you an idea of the project that we worked with like here, right? But we are like, I was not, and this is like in the HR space. So I was not in the HR space myself. We just like the company hired us as the fractional CAO because we have a few case studies within the industry. But in the ideal world, you would want the CAO that comes from the industry or have an in-depth experience within like the field, because we need the overall business picture, not on the technical side, on the business side. Now, once the business side is checked, now this guy need to also have a pretty good understanding of the AI environment, right? So on the technical aspects of what's possible, because the first like step for the CAO is when like someone like that comes into the company, you need to do an audit, right? And then create a roadmap. And in order like to actually see where AI can be applied, because like technically, yes, let's say there's like the company and they spend whatever like 20 hours per week on like some random thing, right? But the problem here is that, okay, but do you, and you can say, yeah, like let's automate it with the AI, but now you need to understand A, if it's possible, B, so there's like, I heard it from someone, there's like a 3 stages in the AI implementation thing. It's like, first question is it possible? The second question is it possible? If yes, do we actually want it to be replaced with the AI? And this is where like the most market is at right now. This is where like AI is like can do a lot of the things, but the businesses are like considering, so do we really want AI to handle it or not? And the second thing is like, okay, when the question is yes, it's possible, and yes, we want it, right? So here, this guy, like the fractional CAO, needs to understand that it's possible or it's not possible, and have the business knowledge to answer the question if they need it, if they actually need it right now, and if it's actually going to help or not, and how robust this like infrastructure solution automation agent going to be on the production side, okay? And also have the network of developers, right, to fulfill it. Because if there's no network, it's gonna be kind of like a consultant type of the work, right? Which again, it's still, even if we like take these things, it's not a consultancy only, but he or she, the fractional CAO, needs to have a network of the people that are can potentially fulfill the job, or need to understand where to hire them and how the actual like hiring and setting someone within the company for like either part-time or full-time, as we discussed, how to do that. And it comes back to the actual like business knowledge within the industry, okay? Or have an agency behind him, like us, right? So because I can be, and this is a part of the services that we offer to some of our clients, is a fractional CAO. And it's like Eugene is the fractional CAO, even though Quimple is behind the Eugene. So I have the agency behind me where we can fulfill the things. And I'm not saying where, like, for example, like this is one of the clients that like we worked with, and I actually sent this newsletter to my subscribers. By the way, again, so it's free. Like I have the free resource hub with most of the automations and chatbots and agents that I built on this channel, and you can subscribe, you can get access and download all the templates. So and you also subscribe to my newsletter. This is where like I share the insights that I don't share anywhere. And like this was the use case that I was explaining, and the audit that we actually did as a part of the fractional CAO service for like this payroll HR software company. But it's not only software, so they're like selling the software plus the service, and most of these things are relevant to the service side of the business. For example, like Diagnose CRM, they have a lot of the kind of no prioritization, no scoring, a lot of the dead leads, a lot of the missed leads, reliance only on like Freshdesk for the ticketing system. And like if you look closely here, stop the video and read it, so you will see that, like, for example, if you're giving this task to the CTO, and this is like the question again, between like, will the CAOs be irrelevant, or will this be the task of the CTO? Is that like here, this is like what we found. And it may be obvious, but the CTO will not know it, because this is the customer success department, right? And manual like tracking job market, and this is like they have whatever, so the HR department within the HR software company. And like this is not the CTO role. And expanding other countries tech support, so this could be like this also on the customer support side plus the technical. Okay, invoicing, this is the technical side, right? And this is the kind of the technical, the sales. So there are like a lot of different things from different departments, and this is where the audit comes in handy, right? And that's why it's not possible to do by just the CTO. So what I'm saying is that once someone like this, like the fractional CAO, does the audit, then we need to understand, okay, so who is going to fulfill it? And before becoming the fractional CAO with the company, once we do the discovery call with the potential company prospect, I understand if we are like, I already like if you talk with me for like 20 minutes on the discovery, I already can probably like pinpoint 60% of the solutions that can potentially already be implemented. Other 40, like we need to go in depth. So like I already see if we are the ones who will be able to fulfill it or not. And one thing is the ability, and the second thing is the if we want it or not, right? Because as already mentioned, we are like focusing and we're like still trying to only take the clients that we are interested in working with. So that's why, this is like a whole separate like discussion. So this is kind of where the actual CAO type of the role plays in. I hope you like got my idea. And now let's actually brainstorm of how does someone go about like becoming the CAO, right? As I already said, like there is really not active demand for it right now. If you go to like Indeed, for example, like search for it, like there's like nothing here. Okay. There are some guys that talk about it. I don't even think that there are like any videos on the YouTube besides like this one. There are like some articles, whatever. So before we go into the actual like money making process and how like to structure up the work, I want to mention one thing. So I have no idea how it's going to be in like a year or 2 years. Again, I'm not saying that I know everything. It's just my opinion based on what I see on the market and based on hundreds of calls that I did with the businesses, right? And with like thousands of messages that I received from people, businesses, whatever, like all different types of the humans on this planet. So this is just like my honest opinion. I would love to learn and hear you guys out, especially the guys that are, working maybe as the CTO or are like the agency or like the business owners that are like thinking about like certain things. Because we actively actually discuss it within the bootcamp with all the members and stuff. So okay, now, so how does like someone like actually structure the offer, or someone go and like try to find like land a job within the market, or like become an actual like full-time CTO, not for the company but like as a whole? These guys like, and how much our CTOs are making, it's obviously a very stupid question. It's like a huge range, right? I like to think about it in like a very simple manner. For the most part, if we talk about CTOs, they're like 130, 200K a year. Again, guys, very like, it's hard to say, right? On average, but in the US, UK, Canada, whatever, like Europe, different countries. So like if we, let's say, let's get this as an average. And like, let's say the chief marketing officers are going to do the same thing. We are not replacing them and we're not going full time, right? So you're not going to come to the company and say, hey, I'm the fire your CDO, like I'm the CAO or whatever, right? So it's not going to work like that. Plus, from what you heard like here, you're not going to be the full-time guy. So now if we're like thinking about, okay, So the company can hire you to actually become their like fractional CAO, and I'll explain again what skills you need to be hired. But let's say it's gonna happen, and if it's like fractional, then it's like recurring. It's not the one time. It's not like the consultancy where you just do the audit and that's it. You're like consistently trying to deliver the results, and this is like a whole separate for the discussion on how to like not, because the main thing, like the first thing that you'll need to do is to do the audit. But after the audit, like if they pay you monthly with a yearly contract, like what are you actually delivering? And if you're like interested in this topic, we can discuss it in the separate video. But let's cut it by 3, right? Again, so like for example, from this, if we cut it by 3, so this is like how much you can expect to make as a fractional CAO. Again, like how much you can expect to make. I just don't want you to be overly positive and think, yeah, I will become the CAO like and make this money. No, it's more complex than that, but I'm just trying to give you the math. So, and this is like how much we charge, right? And like we charge a bit more, but depending on the company. So this is like where you can come in, the business will pay you that much, and you will become the fractional CAO for them, trying to A, find the use cases, B, hire the freelancers and the part-time workers, and track the progress of implementing, iterating, and actually like doing what are like sprints of the development and like tracking the whole process of implementing AI into the business, right? So this is, I think, from my experience right now, and again in Q1 2025, like where the industry is at when we talk about the US English speaking market. So, and the potential is to get like multiple clients, because it's not, and it's not even part-time, right? So it's more like a fractional. That's why I like the word like fractional CAO and not like part-time CAO, because like part-time, I guess, it's like 4 hours per day, and then now it's like it's 9 to 5. Okay, it's not like a freelance nor the agency. It's like the 9 to 5, the part-time, right? And I don't believe, and if you're the business, you need to understand it. So there's like no real need for you to hire someone for it, right, on the part-time nor the full-time. So that's why I think it's kind of you need to really like understand it. So, but if you are this going to become a CEO now, you know that you can take 4, 6, whatever, 10 clients potentially and work for them at the same time within the industry. And now you have a leverage because you have an understanding within the industry. You implement the solutions within different companies. Obviously, it's very important to not to the conflict of interest. But if you are like focusing not on the like money making activities only that will, in lead generation that will be in conflict if you are like working within one industry only, and especially if it's a small one. So now you can like take more, like a few clients, right? And if you're taking a few clients, this is, you're now at about like 200, 300K range a year, which is a pretty good range. And you're not essentially like an agency. You're more close to the consultant / freelancer, right? Not as an agency, because yeah, you can like build a whole agency around it and provide these services to the companies like I do, but still, I am the one who communicates with the company, and I don't feel comfortable with hiring someone yet, maybe at this stage, when the company want like me and my agency to be like this type of person for them. Now, when it comes to the skills, I think that compared to the chief technical officer, like there's like nothing to learn. Compared, there's a lot of things to learn, but like to become the CTO, guys, I've never been the CTO. I've been communicating with a lot, and I have the CTO within my company. So again, it's just my opinion. So this is how I view it. That like you need to have a really good understanding of like a certain topic to become the CTO, and like you need to have like 5-10 years of the prior experience usually to land a good job. So here, like you don't need that much technical skills because of the barrier of entry. So you need to have the technical skills. Even though you do not do the fulfillment, you need to understand how to fulfill certain things, to understand like what are the budgets. You need to project, okay, so how much is business going to spend and where to hire these people. And then if you are actually the one who's doing the hiring, you need to like speak the same language. But like this medium, like tech skills can be acquired within like 1-2 years of like being inside, like being in the industry and maybe trying different projects. Now the business skills within the industry are like very important, and usually you would either like it's good if you would have like a good position within certain company within this industry so that you can reference that you know how everything works, or in the ideal world you would own the business within the industry and then kind of either you're not like longer involved in the business, you sold it or whatever, and now you're like doing this thing. So the very important question is that, do you need to have the case studies? And again, so because I would say that if you are like, if you agree with me that this is a really good opportunity, the next question for you would be, so how, like where to get the companies? And to answer this, again, so I have the bootcamp, right? So like go here, and this is where like I teach like this. But essentially, I think the second most important question, besides like how to find the clients, is that where, like, do you need the case study? Like how does the process work? And I do deeply believe that you don't really need to have the case studies. It's because it's not the agency. It's not the, you should have the track record, right? You should, to land something like paid and something good. But if you're starting out, like think about it. When we say like work for free, right? There's a whole narrative within the agency space, like work for free and do whatever, right? So, and like get the case studies. But usually the companies don't want you to work for free because they don't want to spend time on you. But now, if like imagine an agency offering, hey, we will work for free until we show the result, or imagine someone 9 to 5, like the intern, will come to your company and say, hey, bro, like I will work for free for you, and we'll do anything until you pay, right? So the chances of the 95er to work for free and land the job for free, or like imagine like a really good CTO or like whatever comes to you and say, hey, I'm gonna work for free for you. And I said really good, and obviously it depends on the quality of the agency and the person. What I'm saying is that since this is not considered specifically the agency or freelancing, when you come to the business and say, hey guys, let me become your like fractional CEO, I'm gonna work for, I'm gonna like do everything, I'll help you to explore the industry, no need to pay for it, and you don't need to do any commitments, and you're not the one who's like doing the development, so they are not committed to anything. You just do the work, you show it to them, and then if they like it, they may hire you, and then you will actually do the implementation. So this is one of the ways to do that. Anyways, so thanks guys for watching. I hope you liked the video. Take care. Peace.